Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you guys have had an awesome week since I last podcasted. I'm podcasting later in the day than I normally would, and it could be for several reasons. It could be that today is my 13th wedding anniversary, and my husband and I have been married for 13 years, and it could be because of that, but it's not. Because we didn't go out and do anything because, I'm trying to save some money for my car needs some repairs really badly. But the reason why I'm podcasting late, and you probably see the sun coming in super bright, but there's nothing I can do about that because I can't control nature. But behind me you'll see some flowers, and those aren't for me for my anniversary. And it's funny because 13 years seems like a long time that my husband and I have been married, because when we got married, one of us couldn't even drink on our honeymoon. We were that young. But to think now that I have a daughter that is old enough to be in a dance recital, and so that's what those are from. She had her very first dance recital today, and it was so cute. She did the number her dance her dance little group did was Judy Garland's Come On Get Happy, and they had little red tutus and a little black top hat and tap shoes and all this kind of stuff. I should post a picture on Instagram so you guys can see it, because you guys are a big part of why she was able to do that, because she's been wanting to take dance classes since she was 3, and it just wasn't really in the budget. And then I told myself, as soon as I started dyeing yarn, I was like, that's one of the first things I'm going to do, is have her get to be able to do dance classes, because she's been wanting to do them. And so thank you everyone who has supported the shop, whether by liking it or liking a different item in the shop, and definitely a huge thank you to the people who have bought yarn. You guys are awesome, and my daughter thanks you because she can, do things. I really like dance recitals and go to dance class. I really wanted to, use that to kind of help her get to do something that she's always wanted. It's funny because I don't think she quite understands the dyeing yarn. I think she believes that I work for the post office, or that the post office buys a lot of yarn, because whenever she wants to do something, she'll be like, go dye some yarn so you can give it to the people at the post office. So I think that she thinks that's what I do, is I dye yarn. There's a lot of knitters at the post office. They all want yarn. But it's just very cute because she will go with me to the post office a lot of times to mail off you guys' orders. And speaking of the yarn, I have some to show you in a little bit. But yeah, that's why we're late. We're podcasting late, because dance recitals are very long, and I wanted to stay for everybody, to be there, clap and cheer for even the older girls who were beautiful. And so it was kind of like my husband and I got to go to a ballet for our anniversary, but we just had our kids with us, and we got to go see, different dancers, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm excited to kind of watch her progress, so that hopefully I can, dye yarn so that she can go and do dance again in the fall, starting up again the new year, because I know she really enjoyed it, and she's so cute. It was such a cute number, all the little kids dancing. And she wasn't even the youngest, because there were 3-year-olds there. Like when she wanted to start dancing, but we couldn't, swing it. There were 3-year-olds there dancing, and they were pretty cute as well. But this is a knitting podcast, even though I love sharing little bits of my life with you guys, because I think of you guys as my, my internet friends or my podcast friends. So let's get on into the knitting. I finished the Gather hat by Tin Can Knits, and this is for a friend who has not had her baby yet, as far as I know. I have another one of these I want to do in a white speckled yarn with all these like fun rainbow colored speckles for a friend who has had her little baby girl. But this is for a friend who's having a little boy. And if you remember last week, I had run out of yarn. I'd failed at Yarn Chicken. And so I had some bare DK left over from my best friend's sweater. And so I didn't know the formula of what color they'd used, how much of the dye they'd used. I had no idea about it, but I knew I had a color that was similar. And so I dyed up some yarn, and it kind of like almost matches. It's a deeper shade of the exact same color. So it looks kind of like a gradient, which I think is cool. I think it works better than say if I popped a white top on there or a red or something. So it looks the same color family. It just either, because this is a different, like I believe this is just a superwash wool, it feels kind of rough, but the top of this is knit from the yarn that I used for my best friend's sweater, which was a wool cashmere blend. So the top of this is crazy soft, but maybe the cashmere took it differently. Or maybe I just put in a tiny bit more dye than I needed, but yeah, it's a little bit darker on top. And I think it hasn't been blocked out yet. The ends are all sewn in, but I think it's going to turn out cute. And it's a great little pattern to show off yarn too. I think you could do it with a solid, or I think this speckled will look nice as well. So there's that. My next FO, I'm trying not to feel upset and sad about, but I am pretty upset. Because, okay, well, to the story. So my next FO is still kind of damp because it and I have been having discussions like, please stop bleeding over everything and everywhere. So my next FO is the Tane Shawl by Melanie Berg. And you might say, that doesn't look like if the camera, I don't know how the coloring is, but it's still very damp. You might say, that doesn't look the same colors as your Tane Shawl. Well, it's a new one. So originally my Tane Shawl was a very dark navy and a cream color, cream like as in white. Now it is a tiny, it's not as navy, the blue on this faded a lot. And then where did it fade to other than the water that I washed it 4 times in and it is still bleeding everywhere? It faded onto the cream color. So now the cream is like a grayish blue, and I cannot, no matter what I try, I cannot get the blue to stop bleeding everywhere. I tried the chemical Synthropol that pulls the dye out. I tried, different washes. I tried rinsing over and over again, and even when I was blocking, it ruined a towel. So yeah, I'm kind of upset because it's weird, because I feel like this is not an indie dyed yarn. It's not an indie dyed. It's a bigger company. And I think a lot of times people give less slack to indie dyers, and I tend to give more. I know the indie dyers, like even before I started dyeing, like they're probably dyeing out of their kitchen or little hot plates in their garage. And so I give them a ton more slack, because they don't have, like big companies have thousands of dollars to work on their yarn to make it perfect, to make sure it's a good recipe or whatever that they're doing, and they have really nice equipment and stuff like that. So I tend to give them less slack, because I feel like you have all this money at your disposal, and I knit this, it took me a really long time, and the yarn cost a fair bit of money, and it was going to be a Christmas present for my mother-in-law, but I can't give this to her now. It was going to be a cold weather shawl scarf, right? And what happens in the cold weather in the north where she lives? Snow. And so can you imagine if she's wearing this and it gets snow and it gets wet, because I can't get the blue to stop bleeding. So can you imagine, like, it's going to ruin her clothes. Now if it were a cool weather shawl, and you're out wearing like a lace shawl in Texas or something, the chances of it getting snow on it are none. It's not going to get snow on it. Could it possibly get rain? But I mean, you'd see it coming or know from the weather. But the purpose of this is to wear out when it was cold. And so all those hours spent on this, and now I don't have the Christmas present. I don't even know, what would you guys do with this? I cannot give it to her, because she will not remember that about it, or she won't want to wear it because she'll get nervous about it, because she very much so cares about having really nice clothes, like having like an impeccable appearance, I guess. And so if it ruined one of her clothes, it would cost a lot of money. And so I cannot give this to her. I thought about donating it to Goodwill, but do I want to ruin somebody else's clothes? It's like some poor person at Goodwill who picks up the shawl, and then next thing you know, their shirt is ruined. So I don't even know what to do with it. And I feel like with commercial yarns, this shouldn't happen. I don't know, because this is a big company. It has a lot of money to, yeah. So I just tried to wash it last night and my husband was like, yeah, the water is really blue. And I left it overnight with the chemical it's supposed to draw out all the extra color, and it's still blue. So this is still fresh on my knitting. It hurts. So I am probably going on about it more than I should, but it's still fresh in my mind of no. I'm just having some water, although I should probably be having coffee, because those of you who've ever tried to apply full stage makeup onto a 5-year-old will know how hard that is. And I was just worn out after, and do the hair, I was just worn out after the whole dance recital thing. I kind of wish I could take a nap. I might later, or go to bed early, but let's get into my whips in progress, which so far do not have sad tales of woe. Like that's all, like I would really love your opinion on what, I'm not going to keep it for myself because it's very thick, but it's not extremely soft. So it needs to go somewhere where it's going to be not like worn in bed all snuggly, where it's going to be worn as a utilitarian piece for, you know, keeping somebody warm out in the cold. But it's, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. Would you give it to Goodwill? Would you? I don't want to throw it away, but yeah, that's where I am on that. So in a Fat Squirrel Fibers bag, I started some new socks this week because my kids are out of school, and my daughter's been out of preschool for a little while, but my son is out of school, and so I'm doing this with socks lately. I'm like, these are my socks that I knit on while I watch my Spanish practicing things. These are my socks that I knit on while I'm at the park. These are my socks that I knit. Like, I'm delegating my socks to different times of when these are the socks I knit on while my daughter is at dance class. And so I started some at the park knitting socks. And because it is summertime, and that means that I have a lot less introvert time to myself because everybody's home all the time, and my two kids, they either love playing together or it's screaming upsetness, and we've already had that this first week. So as the title of this episode kind of demonstrates, I'm trying to cultivate calm in my life, even for little moments, so that I can just kind of feel calm and re-energize myself, since I'm an introvert, so that I can keep going on with, you know, making it through the summer and having a happy summer, as opposed to a stressful or draining summer, just because I really need those moments of quiet. So I've been picking colors that really make me feel calm and happy, and this is a color that I love. I'm really drawn to blues when I'm wanting to feel calm, kind of, I guess, because I love water, like lakes and oceans. They just feel very much a place of calm serenity to me. So this is Opal in their Little Prince line, and this is what it looks like in, and then this is what it's knitting up. So have different shades of blue, kind of a royal blue, and then an aqua, and then pinks and purples, and it's just all the colors I love. And yeah, I just have barely finished the toe because we only went to the park a couple days this week. We can only go if we wake up and immediately go, like, right away, because it is Texas, San Antonio, and it gets way too hot, and my daughter is the palest person I've ever seen up close, and so she can't be out in the sun when it's bright at its full, you know, time of super hot weather. And then the next thing, let me show you this other one next. I just barely cast on. It doesn't even have a project bag, but I'm knitting another hat for the homeless, and this isn't necessarily in colors, although the needles are blue, that make me feel calm, but it does feel really nice to know that you're contributing in a way to help others. So this is going to be, like I said, a hat for homeless, and this is a Thea Coleman pattern, Baby Cocktails, who I'm knitting her patterns this month. And this is from a 3-pattern ebook that she has called One Bourbon, One Beer, and One Scotch. All of her patterns are named after, or most of her patterns are named after drinks. And so it's a men's hat, and I think I like the One Bourbon best because it's highly cabled. The One Beer is textured, but the One Scotch is just a very simple rib pattern. I don't even own the patterns, because the one that I'm knitting, the one Scotch, is so simple. Like, I can look at it and I know what she did. And you know, right now saving up so I can get my car fixed, I'm not really buying patterns if I can figure them out, if they're really simple. So yeah, this one has the brim that I started, and I'm just using some single ply. I think it's Malabrigo, but it's been skeined up in a ball for a while, so I'm not sure the color or the yarn, but it's a single. I'm just gonna keep going with it and use up other little bits of singles to make a hat. And then my two whips that are really kind of, the colors are really calming and I'm really enjoying them. This one is in my Bags by Awesome Granny, my whale bag. And this is my Paloma sweater, which is by Baby Cocktails. I am knitting this out of some wool, and it's their Legacy Bulky, and it's Rain Cloud. So this is just a very calm color to me. It's a very light blue, and it just feels like a dream cloud. It's puffy, and it's just beautiful. It's just a really calming color to me. And I forgot to put in a marker to show you where I was last time, but I was just a tiny bit above the ribbing last time, so I'll remember to put one in this time. That shawl that bled everywhere, that took a lot of this week's knitting. That's what I knit on the vast majority of this week. But yeah, I think it was right about right here. So I've added, I think, 6 inches to this, and this is the back, of course, of the sweater. And it's just a very simple texture pattern. It's definitely intuitive once you get going, and the yarn is very bouncy. And so part of my Cultivating column, I grabbed this or the next project I'm going to show you, and I have put on some essential oils, either some peppermint, because when I'm stressed I get a lot of migraines, or some lavender. And then I also have been putting on, Netflix has this, and I get teased about this from my husband so much, but it's called Moving Art. If you like beautiful things and beautiful music, and you need some calm in your life, and you don't have a lot of time, because I don't have a lot of time, then this is perfect. They're about 20-25 minutes each, and there are 2 seasons, and each season deals with a different thing, like the desert or flowers or the rainforest, or different parts of the world, or waterfalls or mountains. And it's just 25 minutes of moving art, beautiful short videos of different things set to music. And it is just that perfect amount of time that I can like sneak away for 20-25 minutes while my kids are, you know, picking up their room, or, you know, building a pillow fort, or not when they're in the middle of fighting, because that requires me to be there. I'm definitely one of those moms that kind of helps talk things out with them. But I can sneak away, and I can just, you know, be in my room for a couple minutes, 20 minutes, while they're having silent reading time, or, you know, my daughter's putting on a dance show for my son or something, or she's drawing and my son is reading. But I can knit on this while watching one of those short little videos, and with my essential oil on, and I automatically feel calmer, and my mood is better, which is great for everyone. And it's really an amazing thing how just a couple minutes by yourself, if you're an introvert, with just things that give you that feeling of calm, can really help bring your mood to a nice place. So yeah, good colors, good visuals, good music, and my essential oils have really been kind of helping me survive this first kind of adjustment period of summer, when they're both home and they have very different personalities, so kind of finding a way to work with that. But yeah, I'm loving this sweater. And then my last work in progress is actually a whip that when I cast it on, when I cast it on in April, I believe, this was a Melanie Berg month, yeah. When I cast it on in April, I cast it on. I just cast on 6 stitches just to say that I cast it on. I didn't even show it on the podcast, but I just cast it on to say, okay, I cast this on, and I'll work on it some other time just so I could have it cast on the month of Melanie Berg. I was just so busy in April dyeing yarn for that show. And this is in a Diana Couture Serena bag, which I love. It's great for multiple color shawls. This is a 3-color shawl, but it still works for that. I love to have my 2-color shawls in here with this as well. And I am knitting the Ashburn by Melanie Berg. It is a 3-color shawl. So let me show you 3 colors. I got this yarn as a like put together kit by Skein last year. And so this is what it looks like. It has this blue and this cream color and then this kind of mossy green, and this is a very calming color combination to me. I look at it and I think, it must be, I look at it and I think of nature. Like I think of snow, I think of a pond, I think of green moss. It feels like being out under an open sky. That's kind of why I named my yarn Open Skies Yarn, just because it's a very, you know, soothing thing to me. So these are the 3 colors, and it is one of those shawls that progresses through the colors. So it starts with the green, and section 1, section 2 will be this white, and it will go to the biggest section, and it's an asymmetrical. It'll go to the biggest section in this blue, and this blue is called Perfect Day, which is lovely. And then this is called Cremia, and this one is Highlands. So, like I said, when I had first cast it on, and I'm doing it on my driftwood needles, which are very soothing to me. And when I first cast it on, I just had 6 stitches. So it's not grown a ton, but I am absolutely loving it. And like I was saying, this and the sweater are ones that I've been, you know, putting on my essential oils, putting on the Moving Art. Seriously, if you need some calming thing, Moving Art on Netflix. If you're anything like me, Moving Art. Some of you might think it's boring, but I don't find stuff boring. I was never one of those people that was like, oh, I'm bored when I was a kid. Things are endlessly fascinating. Like I'm getting to see beautiful pictures of areas of the world that I would dream of going and I might never be able to. So it's wonderful, the Moving Art. And so it's so cute. My little wee start of the shawl. But I know that I'm going to gravitate toward this a lot because my wrists have been kind of bothering me a little bit this week. So these shawls where it's just knitting on a looser gauge are feeling a lot better. I've worked on my other socks a tiny bit, but the tighter gauge and trying to pull and make sure it's a dense, good fabric for the sock is kind of making my wrist not feel, it's this wrist, but I don't even know, it's not even my wrist, it's like the thumb to the wrist part right here. I'll get like stabbing pains to where I can't, it kind of like immobilizes it where I cannot move it. So I just kind of rub it and stretch. My Carson class that I took at that retreat a couple months ago to kind of stretch out my muscles, but it doesn't really help that much when it's bad. So I just take a break this week. I've been taking a break, and then I've been, you know, my wooden needles feel better and looser gauges feel better. Definitely the knitting socks on metal size 1s is not feeling great when it's been hurting. But yeah, that is all of my knitting. And then for spinning, we are going to have, thanks to Brenda, a Good Yarn, a Tour de Fleece team. She texted me, and this is how tired I've been this week. She texted me and she asked about, you know, would I want to do official or unofficial Tour de Fleece team. And in my mind, I didn't even read Tour de Fleece, I read Spinzilla. So I started texting, or I texted her back a message that probably didn't make any sense, saying, oh, well, for Spinzilla, I'm on this team. And I was talking about Spinzilla, and that wasn't even what she asked. It was just, I talked a week or 2 ago about some neurological tests that my doctor wants me to have done because I am super tired all the time, and then my comprehension of things or my memory of things that normally I can recall without any problem has gotten really bad in the past couple of months. So Brenda, I'm sorry. I messed up my text to you. My brain just isn't working like it normally does. So yeah, so she started a thread for the BookishStitcher in the Tour de Fleece group, and then in the podcast, the BookishStitcher podcast group on Ravelry. And so that's all there. If you would like to join us, I don't expect a ton of people to join. You know, it's a medium-sized group. It's not tiny. It's not huge. We're a medium. We're in the middle. We're laid back in the middle, folks. So I imagine there will be some chatter, but not a ton. But Brenda's amazing at kind of keeping up with chatter. All the moderators are. I'm not. I'm in that stage of life where, you know, my kids are young and I can't. They're young, but they're not so young, and it's kind of, I don't know. You might understand, but you can leave them alone for a little while to go on Ravelry, but not too long, because there might be screaming or something. Mom. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, but they're amazing at replying to stuff, and I'm going to try to be half as amazing as the awesome moderators are for that Tour de Fleece. And so I'm going to be, that's going to, I think, help me to spin more and kind of encourage me. I need to get that loop bump off there before it starts. And you can join any team. I am the most laid back person about that. I'll just be glad if you decide to join our team at all. You can join 5 teams if you have a whole bunch of Cloud Lover that you want to spin up, or a whole bunch of Three Waters Farms and you want to be on their team and my team and a Drop Spindle team and a Ladybug team. It doesn't really matter to me. And I think Brenda mentioned something about prizes, or I'll come up with some prizes, fiber and stuff, so there'll definitely be prizes. And then that's spinning, but then also in group news, like the Tour de Fleece thing, we have the summer of, my brain is blanking on what the exact thing we decided to call it, but it's like finish up your whips or whip it good, maybe. But my friends Heidi, Undead Yarn, and then Crocheting Hoovian are going to be joining for the summer of getting all your whips off. And this is a tiny whip, but my Paloma sweater was a whip from last year, so that's definitely a good one to finish up for the whips. I'll have prizes and everything, and you know, get some whips off your needles over the summer, which I have a lot that have accumulated this year, so that'll be great. I'm very thirsty, and I've almost run out of water, so that means it's time to stop podcasting, right? But yeah, I'm just, with the neurological stuff and not being able to remember, I'm really trying to simplify my life and kind of get things down to the bare, what I need to be doing in other realms, so I can really, like, you know, remember stuff for my family, like stuff we're supposed to be doing, because that's kind of one of my hats that I wear in my family, is the coordinator of everybody's little life events. So I need to not forget those. But I'm trying to get, like, anybody who knows me in real life will know that I normally have thousands of emails unread. I've gotten it down to 0 this week. That was another thing, non-knitting, that I really focused on, just trying to simplify so that I don't have this big thing looming over me, you know, and so that I can have that email thing to where I'm not relying on all the stuff inside my head to try to remember, but I can look at my emails, and there's not too many, and I can see what we're supposed to be doing because people sent me an email. And so it'll be nice to kind of take some of the pressure off my brain. But yeah, it's been a challenge when you can't remember stuff. So, and I'm blanking on what I was gonna say next now. Anyways, yeah, so I haven't been posting to the blog, the BookishStitcher blog. I have a blog that I never post to. I have a Patreon account that I haven't posted to Patreon for the podcast in months. So if you're a Patreon person, you haven't gotten any charges for months and months, so you're probably happy about that. But since I have the dyeing yarn, I'm trying to kind of focus on that so that I'm not spread out too thin. And speaking of dyeing yarns, let me get into that really fast. So I have the Open Skies yarn on Etsy, and I dyed up this week the Summer Skies, and I want to say like Summer Skies at Night, like it makes me think of Grease, like the Summer Nights song. But this is a colorway based on a picture, and I wish I had screenshotted it so it could be up here, but I didn't. This is a colorway based on a picture that won the Summer Skies contest, and the picture was at night, and it was of fireflies being trapped in a jar and all these beautiful twinkly lights. And I thought, how do I capture that? And so this is probably the hardest colorway I've ever dyed. It'll be the same price as all of my other sock yarns. I don't differentiate based on like this skein took me hours and hours to dye and this one took less than an hour. I just do it based on the yarn base. It seems simpler than trying to like explain things. But I really wanted this. Let me show it to you, I guess. Ta-da! There's just 4, and one of these is going to the winner of the photo contest. But I really wanted to capture the night sky. So I held the night sky. And then I wanted to capture different parts of the twinkly lights. But within the night sky, I wanted there to be the twinkly lights. And I also wanted there to be little bits of white to represent the firefly. So as I was dyeing the black yarn, I had to make sure that certain bits were left undyed to kind of resist that. And then I wanted to have parts that were like the twinkly lights with the different colors, but I also wanted you to have parts that were white, like just like the fireflies, just white. And so depending upon your gauge, everybody's gauge is different, but this will kind of micro striped where you'll have a bit of the black with the fireflies in it, and then you might have a completely white stripe to represent the fireflies. And by micro stripe means just one stripe, one row around, not like 3 or 4 rows around. It's not going to be one of those block self-striping like we all love so much. I love them too. I don't want to dye them. It's not, it would be too labor intensive for me. I completely admire the people that do it. But, and then you could have another black stripe and then a twinkly bits stripe. So, and it will just kind of, and if your gauge is bigger, it might spiral pull. I can't really, you know, tell you, even if I knit up a sample, mine would be different than yours, but that's basically how it will look. And I think it's beautiful. There's the black sky with the fireflies bits, and then there's this yellow and this orange. There is like a minty green, there's an aqua blue, there's even some darker green to represent the grass when it's really dark. The night sky is black almost, and the grass looks this very dark green. So it's a lot of fun and a very big challenge, and I am excited with the way it turned out. My husband loves it, and I think it's pretty cool too. So yeah, there will be 3 of those going up into the shop. Let's say, I hadn't thought about when. I think I normally do like Tuesdays 7 p.m. Central Time, so let's just stay with that, I think. So Tuesday 7 p.m. Central Time, there will be 3 skeins of Summer Skies. If those sell out, I will put up a thread for pre-orders, or a thread in the Open Skies yarn on Etsy for pre-orders. And so I think that is it. And just, yeah, thanks everybody who, you know, likes the yarn, likes the shop, and people who buy the yarn, because, you know, it's really made a big difference in my life because, like I said, I'm able to, you know, get my daughter into dance and different things like that. And it feels good knowing that I can do something that can benefit them. It really means a lot to me. So thank you, everybody. And then let's see the book for this week. So on the theme of calm or simple, I picked a very quaint little calm, not necessarily calm, but very simple little story of an audiobook. Well, I listened to the audiobook, but you could listen to it any way you chose. But the book this week is My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout. Let me see if I can. Hope you can see that. But this is the story of a woman who goes into the hospital for just a routine surgery. I believe maybe it was having her appendix out or something. It wasn't something super complicated. But while in the hospital, she develops an infection. and it becomes very bad, and she has to stay in the hospital for a much longer time than originally thought, weeks and weeks and weeks. And she has 2 young daughters, and her husband is terrified of hospitals, so he doesn't want to come visit her, but he pays for a plane ticket for her mother to come out and visit her, and she has not seen her mother in a very, very long time. And it kind of is the story of her past and her to where she's gotten to today, and her relationship with her mother. And Lucy is the person that's in the hospital, and looking out of her hospital window she can see the Chrysler building, so it kind of has some symbolism to her as well for that, because of all that she's gone through in her life. She grew up extremely poor, very, destitute, and like she talks about being known as, her family was known as the smelly kids in class. Like, they would taunt her with that because they couldn't, people would say, can't you afford to borrow soap, and just terrible things that happened to her as a child and her siblings. And she kind of got out of it and married her husband, and she became an author, but her relationship with her mother was always kind of estranged. So this is a unique chance for them to get to be together in close quarters, and kind of they start off just talking about everyday, I guess they call it gossip around the town of, what's happening, like, because she was from a small town. So, oh, this person married this person, kind of, I guess, getting caught up on the news of the people around the town. But then as the days go on, it becomes to where they're delving deeper into the past. And I don't know if I would say that the relationship is healed, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, sorry, is healed from this. But it's just a very interesting, and just, it's complex, but it's not at the same time. It's just a very short book that deals with this relationship of the family, these 2 members of the family, the mother and daughter. And it got really mixed reviews on Goodreads. Some people loved it and some people hated it, and some people were like, oh, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. But I didn't have any expectations going into it at all. Like, perhaps I had heard that other people liked it, but I didn't expect it to be amazing and life-shattering and changing. And it's such a short book that I rarely ever expect a very short book to kind of be that way. I don't know. I think of more as like my Russian classics for that. But so I really enjoyed this story, and I do enjoy a very simple, quiet little story, and that's kind of what this is, mother and daughter in a hospital room kind of reliving the past. So I think that would probably be the best sentence I could come up with to describe it. But this is My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout. And that is all I have for this week, and my water is basically almost gone, and it's actually past dinner time now, so I've got to get all the kids ready for bed and stuff like that, because the recital went for so long that everybody's tired and it's almost time to go to bed, even though it's still light outside. I think we'll all be going to bed very early tonight. But I enjoyed spending some time with you guys. Next week is Father's Day weekend, and I'm probably going to be putting the podcast up on Monday instead of Sunday, so that I can have a really good Father's Day with my husband and make sure that we definitely spend the entire day just honoring him and making him know how much we appreciate how hard he works for us and how much he loves us and how wonderful he is, because he's awesome. And I really don't want to be like, hey, can I go off in the middle of that and podcast for a while and then have you he spends forever editing and even though it's a little bit of editing, but and uploading it and getting it everywhere, and I don't want him to have to do that on Father's Day. He would, because he's so kind, but I don't want him to have to. So I'm going to put the podcast up on Monday, and that will be how it goes. So until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and that you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye.